Hi there and welcome to today's vlog. Now I heard yesterday about a woman who was apparently arrested because she Tipp-Ex'd out all the full stops in her library book. Well, I would imagine she was looking at a very long sentence. But anyway, that's enough for a bit of humour. Health update. The doctor has prescribed some tablets on me, atenolol, which is a beta blocker. Well, I wasn't sure that I wanted my beta blocking, but anyway, I've gone along with what the doctor suggested. Fortunately, it's the mildest dose, just a little tiny tablet when I wake up in the morning. So let's hope that helps. And what he's also suggested that I need to lose a bit of weight, and I totally agree with him. So that's good, because that's an incentive for me to do that. So after my forthcoming holiday, I'll be on that losing weight campaign. The good news on the health front, though, is that the blood test came back fine, so no problem there at all. So that's really good. I've been reading this week, as I've been doing for a while, and writing out Mark's Gospel, and came across a really interesting passage in Mark chapter 8. As you, I'm sure, know, Jesus often had clashes with the religious leaders of the day. They were very good at handing out rules, but not so good at having compassion on people, understanding the spirit of the law rather than sticking rigidly to the letter of the law. And Jesus had his harshest words on occasions to some of the religious leaders, because Jesus felt that they were actually obstructing the people in their desire to know God and live in God's ways. But this occasion is interesting because, well, let's dive into it. It's Mark 8 and verse 11. And we're told that some Pharisees came with a specific desire or intention of arguing with Jesus. They wanted to stand against him. It said, testing him to see if he was from God, they demanded, "Give us a miraculous sign from heaven to prove yourself." So they're kind of challenging Jesus. And it's interesting, again, that in the following verse it says, when Jesus heard this, he sighed deeply. He knew what they were after. He knew what they were intending him to trap him into. And he says, why do you people keep demanding a miraculous sign? I assure you, I will not give this generation any such sign. So he got back into the boat and he left them, and he went across to the other side of the lake. Now, as I've said, sometimes, or quite regularly it seems, Jesus had confrontations with the religious leaders. On this occasion, he just sighs because of what they're demanding. And instead of entering really into a discussion or an argument, he just turns away, gets into a boat and leaves. Wonder what the religious leaders thought of that. They were thwarted in their desire to trap Jesus, to get him into a big argument. And that's a reminder, I suppose, that we need, as the saying goes, to choose our battles. Some things are really worth standing up for. If we disagree with something or with somebody, then sometimes we need to voice that, to act upon it. But there may well be times, like here for Jesus, when rather than argue the point, he just turns away and leaves them. So we need to be very well aware to discern those situations where we need to confront something that is wrong, and those situations where it's best for the moment to turn away. There's an interesting little verse in the book of Proverbs, Proverbs 15. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Sometimes, if we're in a situation of potential conflict, if we speak a gentle word, if we address the situation calmly and deliberately. And sometimes that can help to diffuse the situation. But if we react violently or negatively or angrily, then sometimes that will inflame and the confrontation will get much worse. I told you in my last vlog, I mentioned a lovely gentleman called Gerald Craven, who has recently died. Now Gerald, someone who knew him well said to me of Gerald, he never spoke against somebody, he never criticised somebody. And you know, we hear that said of somebody, he never did anybody any harm, and often that's not actually, when you get down to it, the case. But in my experience of Gerald, in my knowledge of him during the 12 years I was minister here in Doncaster, he and his lovely wife Alma were such they were such a joy to know. And yes, I never ever heard them complaining, never heard them speak evil of someone, never heard them criticise someone, never heard them complain about their lot, even when they faced their illness. The church of which they were a member had its difficulties. Sometimes there were situations of conflict, and yet Gerald and Alma never entered in the sense of being criticised of even of those who saw things a very different way from them. I can't say that I've never been critical of someone, I confess that, and yet Gerald and Alma have shown us the way. I think it's the letter of James, where James talks about the power of the tongue. That with the tongue we can build up, we can bless, we can encourage, but also we can desperately hurt people. We can pull them down, we can be ultra critical. So my prayer is that I would use my words wisely. I would know when to stand up for a cause or a belief, when to fight a battle, if you like, but also when to stay silent, when to issue the calming word, to try my very best, with God's help, not to be critical. You know, some of the things you see on social media are really critical. Some people, all they can seem to do is to criticise others, and it's easy to criticise, isn't it? Whenever someone makes a decision, when the government make a decision, there's always people on their backs. When some public person, some well-known person says something or does something, there are always those who will jump on their back and criticise and complain, try and pull them down. How much better to build someone up, to be encouraging, to be alongside, even if we don't agree with them. We can still be loving in our actions towards them. Pray for God's blessing upon them. Jesus said, didn't he? Pray for those who despitefully use you. So that's, if you like, my thought for the day. And just to say that Sue and I are hoping tomorrow to go on holiday. So it'll be a little while before my next vlog. But pray that you, in that time, God may bless you. You may know his presence. And you may be given strength through God's Spirit to walk in his way. So God bless you. Thank you so much for listening today.